Or if the bomb that drops on you gets your friends and neighbors too, there'll be nobody left behind to grieve, and we will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know.
Hello and thank you for watching the John Doe Prepper channel. I'm your host, John A. Whitman. Apologies in advance for the less than ideal acoustics of this particular room, but I needed a nice, well-lit, wide open space for the subject of today's video, which you can already kind of see the top of. Hopefully I can get this in frame before I go smack dab into the wall here. Looks like I can. So this is my war belt that I just recently finally put the last couple pieces together on, and it's all finally done, as you can see. So without any further ado, let me get this thing off my body and onto the floor, and then I will get my camera set up and we will go over every last little thing that I have on this setup and why I have it set up that way. Alright, boys and gerbils, so here is the war belt off my body. Hi. So let's break her down. So starting off with the belt itself, this is the Krydex padded battle belt, which is basically their kind of convoluted way of saying a war belt, which is what it is. So it's one of those big, super thick, wide, heavily padded molly belts that comes with an inner belt. This is not the original inner belt. This is a Chinese Alice belt clone that I used as a replacement to get a little bit more rigidity out of the whole belt setup, and it works quite well for that. What we'll do here for the actual pouches is I'll start on what would be my left side, and we'll just go all the way around. Get that up out of my way there. Right, so no name brand Chinese dump pouch in my favorite autistic fixation, ATAX FG. Above that we have an Emerson Gear double magazine pouch, which has 4 AR magazines inside. Yes, they are loaded. Emerson Gear is one of the higher end, higher quality Chinese tactical gear companies, and they're one of the few that actually offers stuff in ATAX FG, so definitely worth checking out. Above that here I have my M&P M7 bayonet clone. I do have a bayonet mount for my rifle that I have yet to actually get the adapter for through the mail, but once I get that, I will actually have the ability to mount this to my rifle, but in the meantime, it basically serves as just a decent little fighting knife. Right behind that here, I have one of the UCP pouches from my previous video on dyeing UCP to look like ATAX FG. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's actually one of the most viewed videos on my channel currently. But anyway, so that's one of those pouches. It contains a USGI 1-quart canteen with an NBC cap. You can hear there's actual water in there, because again, same with the magazines. Like, why would you have empty stuff on your belt? That makes no sense. But then inside the pouch itself, these are a bit fiddly to get in and out. There we go. Inside each pouch, I say each because there's another one set up the exact same way, and I'm not going to tear it down just to show you the same crap again. But inside each of the 2 canteen pouches, there is a USGI stainless steel wire handle canteen cup. That was loud. And this lovely little canteen cup stove that just nests on that. So we got the tactical Russian nesting doll here. But basically you take this, you flip it the other way, and then your canteen cup can actually rest on top of it. And then you can put, you know, tinder or, in my case, hexamine tablets underneath there and actually boil water inside the cup. So once again, this all nests together like so. That all goes back in the pouch. Now it is back in. And then in the side pockets of this particular pouch, on this side I just have a regular old Bic lighter and a bunch of the homemade fire starters that I also have a video on the channel. So feel free to check out that video as well. That one, at the time of recording, has actually not done as well as some of my other videos. So show it some love if you haven't seen it already. And then in the other pocket here, I have a little side pocket of this canteen pouch. I have potable aqua tabs and PA plus tabs. So potable aqua tabs make, to kind of oversimplify here, potable aqua tabs make nasty water drinkable, and then PA plus tabs make that now drinkable water not taste like iodine. So very nice to have. The best part too is that these tablets are actually made so that the dosage of each one is equivalent, or is meant to be used for the equivalent of 1 quart of water, which each of these canteens hold 1 quart of water. So for every 1 tablet in those bottles, you can purify an entire canteen's worth of water, and there's quite a few tablets in there. And then of course, if I didn't have those, because I have hexamine tablets and 2 canteen cups and canteen stoves, I have redundant methods of water purification on this belt. Moving on. This is another Emerson Gear magazine pouch in ATAX FG, but this one doesn't hold the magazine. It holds an M16 cleaning kit, or I should say a Chinese clone of an M16 cleaning kit. So it's a full AR platform kit that comes with a full-length cleaning rod and all the brushes that you need. I got a little CLP in there. It's got patches, all that good stuff. Moving on, we have my IFAC, which I have a video on how I set this IFAC up. This is a rip-away IFAC bag from Cridex Gear with this lovely little cross patch and my blood type. And because it's my favorite running joke of all time, just remember, if I ever need blood, I'm a POS. My favorite thing about this particular pouch is, as you can see, it has a built-in external tourniquet holder, and I can remove the tourniquet from that holder without having to detach the bag. Since I do have a video where I tear this down and talk about everything that's inside it, I'm not going to do that again here. Next, we have yet another 1 quart canteen with an NBC cap. In this pocket, I have a ferro rod embedded in a block of magnesium with the little section of hacksaw blade there, as yet another redundant fire starting mechanism. And then in this other side pocket, I have a whole lot of nothing, because I can't think of something to put in there yet. But honestly, I'll probably just end up getting more potable aqua tabs and throwing those in there. But until then, it's empty. Getting close to the end here, this is another no-name brand Chinesium ATAX FG pouch. In there right now, all I have is this big old test tube full of hexamine tabs to go with the canteen cup stoves. Eventually, what I plan to have in here is essentially a bunch of snacks, or as the phenomenal prepper YouTube channel, Bear Independent, likes to call them incidental calories. So that's what it will eventually be in there. And finally, we have this lovely little Novrich closed top pistol mag pouch, but it doesn't actually contain a pistol mag. It contains a SOG Powerlock EOD multi-tool. This is an older generation one. The primary reason I have this in here is number one, for the pliers, and number two, for that little thing, that little guy right there. That is a military blasting cap crimping tool, which is very cool, very nice to have. Also, these are really nice multi-tool pliers. So they're just awesome to have. This is the second one of those multi-tools that I now have. But that just lives in there. You can see that is also an ATAX FG, although if you are interested in purchasing anything from Novrich, they don't actually call this ATAX FG on their website, they call it Everglade. And finally, for the very last piece of this tactical gear puzzle, I have yet another product from Novrich. This is the Novrich Harness 3.0. This is meant to go with their battle belt system, but as you can see, I was able to make it work with this one as well. So this is also in their Everglade camouflage, which is literally just ATAX FG by a different name. It has this lovely laser cut MOLLE panel right on your back, so if you wanted to integrate something like a little, for example, you could put a butt pack on this and essentially have it as a little mini day pack, or there are even full-size MOLLE day packs you could get, or you could just put a camelback on here if you wanted to. In my case, I decided to just leave it bare, but that does offer you a lot of options for other stuff you could add to a belt kit like this if you so desire. But this is a lovely 6-point suspender system. It just uses a simple buckle that the webbing passes through and this little piece of elastic. So to attach it to the front here, hopefully, I'm gonna actually get up to show you this. I'm gonna get this way up in your camera so you can see what the heck I'm talking about here. So on the front here, I left the frontmost slot of MOLLE on both sides open, and I just passed the webbing on the suspenders through that top first slot on both sides for the front. And then for the rear of the belt, for the rearmost ones, they are actually going, I don't know if I'll be able to get this on camera at all. There we go. So the rearmost belt mounts go in between all the pouches and actually go around the exposed sections of the Alice belt in the back. And then, hit the camera there. And then for the side mounts here, I attached them to the exposed MOLLE interface on the back of each canteen pouch because A, there was kind of nowhere else for them to attach to, and B, this way these pull the canteen pouches up a little bit, which kind of helps keep them from sagging and flopping around as much as they did before I added suspenders to this setup. But that is my full belt kit setup. So just real quick before I end this video and sign off, I will show you very quickly how I don this belt, and then that'll pretty much be the whole video. So the way I like to don this, I'll back up a little so you can kind of see it in frame here. The way I like to don this is essentially like a backpack. I just put my shoulder through one strap, throw my arm through the other, do up the buckle across my chest here, and then you probably won't be able to see this in frame, but then I do up the front buckle of the belt itself, and then if I tilt the camera down a little bit and then back up again, there we go, now it's all in frame. There you have my war belt. Now you might be wondering, well, why do I only have 4 magazines on this belt? Because this almost seems, especially with the suspenders, almost seems like full-on belt kit like the old school Alice gear. Well, the reason for that is that this is not a standalone system. This is meant to be used in conjunction with my chest rig, which I did a video on previously. So the chest rig gives me another 6 magazines up on my chest, plus a dangler, and it also has my radio and 2 extra tourniquets on it. So that in conjunction with this belt gives me not 4 magazines, but 10, which is awesome. And then I also have my ultralight combat sustainment ruck for extended missions that I showed sort of a prototype version of in the video where I did a review on the bivy tent that I used for that setup. Speaking of which, there will be a dedicated standalone video on that ruck very soon. And then at some point there will also probably be a video where I take this, the chest rig, and the ruck and show you how they all interface with one another. But with all that being said, now I'll get a little bit closer so maybe you can hear me a little bit better. With all that being said, that is all I have for you lovely chuddies today. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It is greatly appreciated. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like and a comment for the YouTube algorithm. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps out a lot with getting my videos out there more. And of course, if you ever get sick of me and my weirdness later on, you can always unsubscribe at any time. But once again, thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, John A. Whitman of the John Doe Prepper channel, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!
We will all go together when we go, all suffused with an incandescent glow. No one will have the endurance to collect on his insurance. Lloyds of London will be loaded when they go.